Hey y'all, Andrew Bateman here with GCK Kayaking and Outdoors. I'm going to address something today that I've gotten a lot of requests for, and that is addressing kayak carry. Specifically, do you carry firearms on the bayou? Yes, I do, and I would advise it, but I do think it's a much more comprehensive conversation than we're going to be allowed to have today. And also, when you address kayak carry, I think it goes far beyond firearms, so I want to give that disclaimer. If we are just carrying a firearm and no other things that we would consider essential, such as medical supplies, all that kind of stuff, you name it, we will do a further video. There's just too much to get into here. But this is like I said, a much more broad topic than we're going to talk about with just guns, if you will. But that's why I know some of y'all are here, is you wanted to know what I carried, and also I'm certainly up to hearing your recommendations and things that maybe you've experienced. I will say, first and foremost, again, know your safety rules of firearms and be diligent. Just because you have it doesn't mean that you're proficient in using it. So whatever platform you have, the training is the most important aspect. So the primary thing, and that's the only one I have with me today that I carry, is a Smith & Wesson 10mm M&P. So I found the 10 mil to be a good option, a versatile option that will handle most likely most of what. And again, I don't have a whole lot of data to back this up of my own, thankfully. And again, hopefully I never have to use this out here for anything other than recreation. But one thing I will say, I think a 10 mil is a good option. Of course, there's a lot of people that carry 357s and 44 Magnums, and even, the 454 Casuls and some of those bigger rounds. They'll work. Sometimes I think they're probably a little much. And of course, in an autoloader, you get more capacity and so forth and so on. Most of y'all watching this video already kind of know all that stuff, so I'm not going to go too deep into, mechanics of the firearms and all that. But the one thing I will say, if you're carrying a 10 mil, make sure that you're carrying heavier weight hard cast bullets. You don't want your hollow points in your lower rounds. You'll find a lot of the pressures in the lower rounds, or excuse me, the rounds with minimal loading compared to some of the bigger ones like the Buffalo Bore and some of those. You're really not getting any more performance than you would get out of a standard 40 Smith & Wesson. So you may have a 10 mil and think that you got this power, and then if you come to find out the ballistics on the certain rounds you're carrying don't have the power you thought you had. And again, that's the whole point. The name of the game out here is penetration. Whether, in my neck of the woods, it's more alligators and things like that, but I also know many people who are up north who deal with bears and things like that, and that's something that they swear by. And again, we don't want something just to smack and expand, we want something to penetrate. So that's, to me, is a good trade-off for all those properties. Just make sure, hard cast, heavy grain bullet for a 10 mil is what I carry. Other thing, very rarely, but occasionally, if I'm really way out in the backcountry, usually maybe a camping trip or something like that, also I'll take a 300 blackout that I put together, mostly Aero Precision parts, suppressed 300 blackout. I can't imagine that there's anything I would encounter that would not work on. Now again, I'm around alligators all the time. I can't find much data, if hardly any, on caliber and penetration tests and stuff like that on alligators, which is good. I love alligators. I don't want to see them harmed. But again, I'm thinking a 300 black will probably have sufficient energy to put shot placement on an alligator most places and hopefully deter it. But I don't know, and I hope I never have to find out. But again, I carry that just in the backcountry. Again, I don't need to be carrying an AR around when I'm down the street, passing through neighborhoods and stuff like that. So those are my two primary defensive firearms that I carry, more just in case firearms. For more so recreation, I do sometimes carry a suppressed 22 Walther P22 autoloader. That thing is enjoyable. It's about the decibel level of an air rifle. The sound of something smacking the water sounds louder than the round itself. And again, all these things I'm talking about are suppressed and stuff too, are properly, just so YouTube doesn't freak out, they are, properly licensed and all that kind of stuff. So we're all above board here. So again, we've covered the 10 mil, we've covered the 300 blackout and the suppressed 22. Occasionally, other than that, it won't really be for kayaking itself, but maybe if I'm going out somewhere for waterfowl or something, I'll take an 870 that I've kind of worked up for, turkey or something like that. But that's about it. That's my kayak carry. I want to reiterate, again, though I carry a firearm, I carry a lot of other things too. Chief among them, besides the essentials of, hydration and all that, is going to be medical. We'll have a much deeper conversation, but I also want to throw that in here. You may very well find yourself in a medical scenario requiring that kind of equipment more than a firearm. In fact, I'll have another video, and I do have a video out on this. I actually would not be here right now if it were not for having medical on the bayou. I almost lost my life on the bayou, and if I had not had what I had, I certainly would not be here today. So let's make sure we have a comprehensive mindset. I know firearms are interesting and cool, and we like to think about the history and the mechanics and all that, but let's also make sure that we're diligent to be as comprehensively armed. And when we talk about carry, we can talk about our firearms, we can talk about our medical, etc. We also need to make sure that we have the mindset, which is going to be the most important thing of all, to keep us diligent and to have the discernment as to when and how to use any implements that we have. So there's that. I hope you'll have a great day. Take care and God bless.